Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and this is Board Game Upgrades and Deluxifications. This is a monthly video series I do on the channel where I go over a bunch of upgrades, 5 different upgrades, deluxifications, upgraded bits, inserts, things like that. We're going to go ahead and dive into each of these today. It took forever to get these things posted, so they weren't like falling over it. That's what I'm talking about over there. But we're going to go ahead and dive into these. I have 5 things to show you today. I have these Everdell Critters and stuff like that. We're going to go into those. I have an insert for Revive. I have the deluxification that is the sweet mess that finally showed up. We'll talk more about that. I have the Great Wall and an insert there, as well as some upgraded tokens and bits for Arkham Horror the card game. I'll have links to everything down below, and as usual, this series is sponsored by Top Shelf Gamer. If you use the link down below, there'll be a coupon code or whatnot. You can go ahead and save some money if you're buying inserts, metal coins, upgraded tokens, things like that. And if you do use that link, it does help out the show. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into things. Let's start off with the Everdell Critters because they're right here, although I did just knock over everything. I meant to when I said these took forever to show it to get set up. But over here, these are basically Everdell Critters and stuffed animals. Starling Games is putting out a line of various stuffed animals around the Everdell line of games. They have these at Gen Con for, if I recall correctly, it was around $80 for all 6, plus you got like something else. I don't remember exactly what it was, but these, and they're a little more expensive if you're buying them individually. Like I said, I'll have links to everything down below. You can check that out. But down here, these are the Everdell Critters. There's a line of 6 of them. I am going to rank them because how could I not over here? I'm going to rank them. Actually, I haven't decided the ranking. I'm going to rank all of these, and of course, links to everything down below. But this is, you know, a cute little Everdell stuffy over here. I don't know which exact critters they represent. I have to go match them up with the cards. But this is a nice little guy over here. This is the fox, which is almost certainly my favorite. I'm not going to... That worked. I'm not going to try to make them all stand up as I go through them, but the fox is almost certainly my favorite. I think this guy has to be my second. This might be the king, if I'm not mistaken. It might be the king in Everdell. He's worth a bunch of points, but I can't remember, either the king or the queen scores for legendary creatures or legendary buildings. I don't remember exactly how they score. My last play of Everdell was actually playing through Everdell Farshore. That was my most recent play of Everdell, but I think this is going to be my second. They're going to fall down, that's okay. From there, my third probably has to be the queen over here. It's simple, basic, to the point, but she does work over here. Another Everdell critter, and I believe their plan is to have more of these, although I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. I believe their plan is to have more of these various critters, depending on how well these do, so if you want more, buy them. If you don't want more, problem solved right there. This guy who just fell down probably is my 4th favorite. In fact, I might even outbeat the queen over here because just look at that little bow tie. Look at that little bow tie and how adorable he is over here. He's just got a little bit of character. But he does look a little stuffy, which, I mean, he is a stuffed animal, so that does work over here. And then second last over here, we have her holding her stuffed little train. That's what I'm pretty sure this is over here. Tell me if I'm wrong over here, but I'm pretty sure that's a train, I think. You know, representing the newest Everdell. What was it? It's Far Leaf, Everdell. Darn it. What's the newest Everdell expansions? There's Mistwood and New Leaf? Is that what it is? Mistwood and New Leaf? I think it's New Leaf, not Far Leaf. And then lastly, we have this Dr. Owl guy. Easily my least favorite. I do like his little packet over here. I don't know. He's just not nearly as cute. If I have to skip on one entirely, like if I didn't have this one, it would not change my life at all. I mean, if I didn't have any of these, it wouldn't change my life at all, let's be honest. But this one is one I wouldn't miss at all. There's the other 5, I'm like, I want them as part of a set. He just feels a little out of place. He might be your favorite. Let me know if he's your favorite. He's my least favorite. But that's these over here, the various Everdell critters, and I have to go figure out how my kids are going to fight over them. I know one of my kids wants this one because he's orange, and orange is his favorite color. So this guy, I mean, he is my favorite. If my kid doesn't know he's there, they've already seen them. It's too late. They've already seen them. Anyways, that's going to be the Everdell Critters over there. From there, let's go ahead and dive into... Let's do an insert first. Let's break this up. We're going to do an insert, deluxification, insert, and we'll figure it out. Insert. Let's start with the insert over here. This is the insert for Revive. Now, this is actually going to be tweaked, meaning even if you are interested in this insert, maybe pace yourself a bit. I'll throw a link to the site down below to I believe it's an Etsy shop. I'll double check. But the person doing this insert currently is looking to redesign it or figure out what his options are as far as incorporating the expansion to Revive. Whether he could incorporate it into the base box and then redesign the insert, or whether it's going to have to be an expansion insert, because this box is fairly tight over here. Now, this does have everything. There are 2 versions of this insert. One that lets you keep your campaign bits separate. If you play through Revive, there's also a campaign aspect, and one of them lets you keep your campaign bits under the insert. The other one kind of just mixes them together. You can easily separate. I'll show you how I have mine currently separated so that nothing's mixed in, and then as you need, you can mix in those bits. There's no real spoilers here. If you haven't played Revive, trust me, you're not getting anything ruined as we go through this. But over here, we have Revive, we have the boards over here, and this is one of those things where I think I'm actually going to be adjusting how I put this back, because I kind of want to put the boards underneath and then the main board on top, and we'll show you why. But these are the various bits and holders that all fit together. And my concern is that right now, if you have this over here, and you tilt that insert sideways, this edge over here would let pieces out, and I don't want that because that would very quickly become a mess, which means this is a game that I wouldn't be able to travel with, which would be a shame because I'm currently looking to travel with it literally right now. Like when I'm done with this video, it's going to go get packed up in the few games that are going with me somewhere, so I definitely don't want these bits flying out. Maybe I should have done the insert after. Either way, but we have our player compartment trays over here. These over here, they all separate nicely, so you can give each player their trays. They all go back together perfectly fine. We have these over here as well, which will go there. We have down over here, we have our crate tiles. These are going to be all these down here, you know, various crate and things underneath. And you can go ahead and shuffle this in or mix them around however you need. We have our modules over here. Those are a little mixed up. I have to go ahead and sort those. We have our machine tiles all nicely stored. And again, you can see there are areas to store some extra bits. Like this is over here is mostly a block of plastic as you go through it, which means there is some room to mess around and possibly store more stuff depending on how condensed that expansion is. Also, some of these over here, like you see the crate tiles aren't as tall as they need to be. So there's room to play with if you want to. This is not the thing I do. I just go ahead and show you these. We have a bunch of cards over here. And again, these cards, even with sleeve, they're not sleeved yet, they will be. But these cards, even if they're a sleeve, there's still plenty of room for it. So that's where, again, there is room to mess around with expansion stuff and see how it works out. Over here we have more cards, and this is where we have some of the expansion stuff stored. So I have the campaign tiles underneath here out of the way, as well as the campaign tiles. I have a few of these tiles over here. These would get mixed into your machine tiles, but I store them into this little container over here so that they're just, well, not in the way. But once you have them over there, once you incorporate them, you'll put them there. These are our base game map tiles without the campaign aspect. And then we have your various player boards over here. And the campaign boards I put simply underneath on the bottom. They do store nicely into here, so you don't want to mess with that too much. And then over here, you store all the various campaign components in there. So that is the campaign holder. And then a few other stuff that's stored elsewhere. And then finally, you have the board underneath, which I'm going to take out right now and try to mix around that order. So what I'm going to do, and the truth is, now that I think about it, you could probably have the map tile still on top. We're going to go ahead and throw these in over here. Throw this back in, so I'm actually going to currently reorganize it and see how, well, successful we're going to be as we do this. And then we're going to, ironically, the person who's actually learning the rules for this, one of the people who's learning the rules jumped into it. I already read the rules. I know the rules well enough to play right now, not well enough to teach, but somebody else is diving into the rules, and the name is Successful, so that does work. But over here, we're going to go ahead and throw these back on top. We're going to throw these on top of that, so again, it's going to have all that there nicely. We're going to throw these on top of that. There's still some, again, plastically block space. This shouldn't be over there. We're going to throw that there. We're going to put this on top over here, and this is where I wonder how safe this will be. There's a drop of space at the side. I guess I'll let you know how well it fared, because I will be diving into this. I will be traveling with this, and hopefully it doesn't go all over the place. We shall see. If it does, it's going to be a bit of a mess up. Separating the player components over there, that would be the least fun thing. Everything else is kind of easy. It's the player components, you have to like count out the individual things if you care enough about it. That's going to be Revive. From Revive, let's go ahead and dive into Sweet Mess over here. Sweet Mess next. So Sweet Mess, this is just a deluxified game. In general, with these board game upgrades and deluxification videos, my goal is to show you just a variety of things. Show you some games that are just deluxe versions of games, some things where you can go ahead and upgrade and get like a fun little insert or deluxified components. Sometimes you have off-the-cuff weird things like these Everdell plushies in the past that, I mean, well, not these in the past, these things like that. And for right now, we have Sweet Mess coming to you from Pika Games. Sweet Mess was a campaign, was a Kickstarter that unfortunately did not, well, deliver. It had issues. But Fantasia Games, who have a subsidiary company, Pika Games, which is their lighter line of games, they picked it up, they took it on, and they just took it on. They took it on for all the backers and are delivering this game to backers, which is very generous of them, because they basically walked in and rescued somebody else's burning mess, not so much Sweet Mess. But over here, let's go ahead and turn this around. We have our components in here, and this is one of those things, so let's go ahead and pull these out. Here are going to be individual player trays. These are going to be things you're going to be punching these out and putting them on. These will be your individual player trays for the game. I don't yet know how to play the game. I'm halfway through the rules in this one, so you have to give me time. Lots of ingredient collecting, making recipes. There's a whole board. Well, let's go ahead and show you some of these things over here. So we have this over here. Let's pull these out, these tokens out. we have these individual things which will be going into the center of the board as you have these surrounding the play area around them. So you're going to be creating these little hodgepodges of, well, things effectively as we try to put them around the board and create little, I think it's a 3x3 grid if I'm not mistaken. I have to look up the rules of how this plays out. But either way, you're going to have a grid of various ingredient tiles. You're going to be putting the ingredients down there. And then we have our individual, trays over here that will show you all your deluxified bits. Over here, we got these trays. And these are the various ingredients that will be going down over here. So you're going to see these over here. We got our chocolate. I think it's chocolate. We have our whipped cream and whatever this purple goo is. Our whipped cream, our candy, our... I don't know what this is. Slime? I don't know what these various ingredients are. We have down here, we have cherries and whatever this is. Is that brown sugar? It could be brown sugar. You tell me. Is that brown sugar? Again, I'm only partially through the rules, so I don't know 100%. And then you have your wild ingredient over here, the special ingredient that is basically a chocolate little ball. This makes me think of Candy Crush. And then over here we have this other tray down here with all the other cards, components, and all that. And that's basically just sweet mess. This has all the game trays, the deluxified version, all that. I don't actually know if there's a non-deluxified. I don't know what their retail plans are or how they're handling all that. All I really know is they came in, they took on the crowdfunding, they took on over the Kickstarter. This is a game I never backed. They sent me to this one to cover, but this is a game I never backed. Sweet Mess. It's one of those games that it was a mess, or is a mess depending on how you look at it, but it was a failure. While crowdfunding failures have been tough the past few years, but they were worse once they were less frequent once upon a time, and this is during the phase of less frequent crowdfunding issues, but they certainly had a problem. The creator of this, as well as I think 2 or 3 other games, maybe I'm thinking of a different company. I think he had another game that he worked on as well, and maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Was there a ninja style game? I think. I could be mistaken, but either way, that is Sweet Mess from Pika Games, which is Fantasia Games, Lighter Games division or whatnot. From there, let's go ahead and show you some deluxified tokens and bits. This is going to be specifically from Arkham Horror, the card game, and we got a handful of little skulls for you to go through today. This coming to you again from Top Shelf Gamer. Top Shelf Gamer over here, they do a few things. So in general, they sell different things that you can get elsewhere. So they sell like folded space inserts, sleeves, things like that. But they have a lot of their own things that they make. They sell coins. I have a ton of coins from them that I highly recommend. But they also make their own deluxified bits that are fantastic for a lot of games. In particular, Brass, they have some. They have for Dune Imperium. They have a lot of games where you can get just deluxified over-the-top components, and then you can mix and match and use them for other games. If you watched last month's video for Antique Duellum, I had my own set that I used some of their various things and just deluxified the heck out of that game, making it an excellent, well, it's already an excellent game, making it a more immersive, better 2-player experience. But over here, we have all these skulls. This is for Arkham Horror, the card game already. We have the brains as well. So you have your sanity and your health over here. Let's go ahead and show you our sanity and our health. So over here, we got sanity and health tokens, and those are just insane. Look at those tokens for both. Like these are, let's just show you a few of these, so you can really focus in on them. But you have your health bits over here. These are just insane degrees of just, again, if you've played Arkham Horror, the card game, if you've ever seen the bits, you're losing your sanity or your health, these are some incredible tokens that are just a solid addition to any game you have. We have our crates over here, if you want any crates. These are more, I think, generic. You can use this for more any game. I mean, sanity and health is very specific when your health is a literal beating heart. And then lastly, we have these magnifying glasses over here. And I'm realizing I did not have an exit plan of how to move these out of the way when I'm done with them, so we're going to have to do that. But these are some magnifying glasses, which are obviously going to be the various clues you have in Arkham Horror. So again, if you want to improve or upgrade your Arkham Horror experience, and actually what I should do, there's another company as well that sells these fantastic Arkham Horror coins. If you want to check those out, you can see some of those over on Nelson Oliver? Nelson All Over. I have to double check what it is. Nelson All Over. Over on his channel, he does a lot of these trading card game type stuff, Lorcana and Marvel Champions and Arkham Horror the card game, and he has some of those over there, but I'll see if I can get my hands on some of them to show you in a future video. Which brings us to lastly to the insert for the Great Wall. This is coming to you from Tinkering Paws. I showed you last month, if you watched last month's deluxification video, there was an insert for Zombicide, Undead or Alive. I have 3 inserts for them total. I'm doing this one now. The other one might be next month or the month after. We'll see. I have to put them all together and go through all the stuff. But overall, their inserts are very, very well done. I showed you last month the Zombicide, Undead or Alive one, and for right now, I'm still utilizing it. The one trade-off I have is a very specific issue I have where my kids play with these miniatures, and then putting them back in, it keeps the miniatures safer as far as transit and storage and all that, and it does so while keeping your stuff very condensed, but it does mean more work, especially if you just let your kids play with your miniatures like I tend to. But for right now, they're still in that miniature, they're still in that insert, and that's likely going to hold true for the Great Wall as well. So let's show you how everything is stored. You will be storing the entire Great Wall all in 2 boxes, and yes, it accommodates sleeves. And so over here, we have our core box. We're going to take out this insert over here, and then we'll show you how everything is stored. We have these card trays, which we'll pull out as well. I probably won't pull out everything here because I don't feel the need to, frankly. So we're going to pull out some of these over here. I'm going to pull out this tray over here as well, and then finally this tray, and then show you that underneath here you have all of these towers sorted. So you have the level 2 the level 2 towers are here, the level 3 towers are underneath, the level 1 towers are on the side, and we have our, our black powder towers over there. That token on top, that's going to be your base game, setup as far as how that goes. But then from here, we have all our card trays, so we have our small little cards over here, and again, these are using the Awakened Realms. I think they're 100mm sleeves. Everything is nicely packed in there to the point that I can do that, which is definitely a risky move to do on camera, but these are packed in, but they fit well. They're not too tight. It's exactly enough. Like these over here, these I probably could not do that with. No, these have a bit looser. I had them before. You could get them tightly enough that they are still a safe fit, but let's see. Can I do it this way? No, I don't want to. Let's not play with it. Let's not play with it over here. Let's just, be safe, responsible adults and not feel the need to prove things on camera. But over here, you have your various cards as well. So, the Ancient Beast over here. We have some more cards over here, the Advisors and the 5 players. They do have ways to recommend putting them together as far as the exact ordering. I don't know if I bothered doing that. I think I got some right and then just didn't bother for the rest. We have our Large, General, and Horde cards over here. And then over here, we have our actual, everything else. So let's go ahead and put these off to the side of it. We're going to put these back into the box shortly before showing you, of course, the expansion box, which is where all the miniatures are. Past that, this did not go properly. Past that, this is what the tray looks like for this. Now, I'm not going to take these all out because, frankly, there's a specific order. This one's the most annoying tray. The other trays are fairly easy to follow. This one, there's this very specific side as far as how this one works, which means you could print out those inserts and whatnot. You're going to have Genghis Khan over here coming out from the center. You're going to pull these out over here. And again, I'm not going to pull out all of those there. We're going to put this guy back in, and he has to go in. If you do have this insert, he has to go in at a slight tilt to be able to fit that in properly. Again, this is the most annoying part. The rest of these over here, they come out smoothly. They keep your stuff nice and safe. You have all the various different types over here, and they all go right back into it very easily, very cleanly. It's very easy to remember where these were if you've done this once or twice. And when I say these, I mean this side. The other side over here, that's something that might take a few times before I get it under my belt. But with that, we're going to put these all back in the base box over here, showing you exactly how it goes in, which I believe is like this, if I recall correctly. This is where you do want to recall what you did, but it shouldn't be that hard because I have a good general sense of what I've done over here. I'm going to put these over here. These 2 boxes, you can mix or match the exact order of how you do them. But then these 2 over here, these 2 are going to have to go in properly as far as those go. That's where you probably should put that one in first, honestly. It makes a bit more sense. But then this will go back on top. There's a drop of lid lift the way this is, and I'm not yet sure. I might be able to solve that by moving the player screens underneath it. I might be able to solve that by moving those over, honestly. I mean, you can barely see anything. You can barely see any lid lift, but I do want to solve or address that anyway, just because I don't like any lid lift at all. And then we have this box over here, and this box is beautiful to kind of semi-behold, which is that's what you see over here. This is beautiful. Like, every one of these trays is going to be one of the factions you're playing as. And this is how the tray goes in. And again, if you saw the Great Wall insert, not the Great Wall, the Undead or Alive, then you have a sense of how these work. But this is the same basic idea. Now, the one thing that is slightly irritating, just worth noting, is these 3 trays over here. The 3 trays you see over here are exactly the same. All the miniatures for these 3 factions will fit in properly into the setup. These ones, you have to choose the right ones, and that is something you want to be mindful of because of specific orders. So these are very easy. These ones you might have to remember, okay, you have to put the archers here and then the specialists there and that there. It's the kind of thing, again, I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's pretty intuitive to remember as far as how it works. But overall, it's something to be mindful of as you go. But then over here, there's nothing to show underneath these, honestly. These just come out very nicely, showing you your individual faction trays. We also have over here, and by the way, it's worth noting, I will have a coupon code to Tinkering Paws down below as well. So in addition to the code to Top Shelf Gamer, there's also going to be one for Tinkering Paws as well that you can see down below. But like I said, we have these factions here. We have our little barricades in here, which comes out as well. And then over here, we have 2 tiers over here as far as how these work. You have your resources in here. And for me, I have the 2 broken flags. No, that's not from the insert. No, it's not from my guys being in plastic bags. That's from my kids playing with the miniatures and not realizing how fragile those flags are. To be fair, when I first unboxed the Great Wall a long time ago, this blue flag was already loose from that one. So that one I'll blame on Awakened Realms. The red one, That's my kid's fault. But over here you have the insert tray over here. I will say, the one thing I will say is when you're using the deluxified resources, this tray is a slightly tighter fit. It's still fine. It still does the job just fine. But that's the one thing where I missed about the way I had it originally set up, because I think the insert that came with the standard game actually did a great job holding those while feeling very nice and looking very premium. Yes, if you're wondering about the deluxified resources, you did have to mix and match slightly in a way that was a little irritating, but it was a very nice insert. This one feels like a small step down, but overall, meaning just that specific resource tray. The rest of it though, the rest of it's fantastic, has everything very, very well held, and just easy to pull out your factions, no dumping them out of plastic bags anymore, like I usually let my kids do. But that's what we have. That's what we have. We have an insert for the Great Wall. We have an insert for Revive. We have Sweet Mess from Pika Games. We have all the various tokens from Arkham Horror. Again, these hearts, I mean, this, I'm sorry, I'm going to focus on these again because I just think they're so cool. Over here, these 2 tokens, look at that. Look at that. You can just like imagine the heart thumping, the brain terrified, all that. And then lastly, of course, we have my favorite little fox guy from Starling Games. And that's going to be your board game upgrades and deluxifications video. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll have a link to the various things down below, as well as coupon codes to Top Shelf Gamer and to Tinkering Paws. And until next time, I hope you have a good one.